I believe 1920 to 1929. Yeah, he talked briefly. He gave me a couple little stories about it. That he told me one story about how he got involved with a rum runner, and those were the guy, what they called the guys that used to go get the booze in Canada, which was just across the river away from us. And we were 12 miles from the nearest bridge to get across there, but we were very close to the river, and it was about a mile wide, and there was Canada. So he was with these rum runners, and they had this rowboat, and there were several of them in the boat, and it was winter time, and they brought this, I don't know how many cases of probably Scotch whiskey and other liquor across, and smuggled it into the United States for consumption there in the speakeasies. And because I remember him saying that one guy kind of objected because it was wintertime and the water was extremely cold, but when they put the cases of liquor in the boat, they put it on top of the life jackets that were all. The life jackets were laid out in the bottom of the boat, and they put the liquor on top of that. And one of the fellows said, "Hey, he says, how are we going to get at those life jackets?" And the guy that was doing it regularly and owned the boat, he said, this water's got a lot of ice in it. And I said, really, if the boat goes down, he said, I'd just as soon go down with it too. He said, I don't want a life jacket because that'll just make it more painful. So, in other words, if the boat tips over, we're gone. But that's the only story I recall of him telling about that part of it. But he did run a speakeasy, and he did make his own bathtub gin. And what they called bathtub gin, he said he used to make Scotch whiskey because he'd buy the flavorings from a guy. We had a drugstore next door to us, and he knew the druggist very well, and he would buy the flavorings from that druggist. And then he would mix up the grain alcohol and flavor it and color it to make Scotch or gin or whatever else it was that he wanted to mix or make. And all of it tasted terrible, but nobody cared. And he had his own labels printed up for it. I never saw one, but he described it to me. He called it panther piss, and the graphic on the label was a bunch of tall reeds that were parting with a panther climbing through it, and the panther was whizzing his way as he flew along through the air. So I wish I would have seen one of those labels, but I never did.